Okay, today I am thrilled to be welcoming Yumi Inukai to the Sasaga podcast. So, welcome Yumi, and please tell us a little bit about who you are.
Okay, so first of all, thank you for the opportunity. And so my name is Yumi, and I am an interpreter, tsuyakusha. For over 7 years now, I've been working as in-house interpreter, shanai tsuyakusha, mainly at medical industry, like pharmaceutical companies and medical device companies.
Mm-hmm.
And so before that, I used to work with you, Helen, at consulting firm. I was an executive assistant there. So it's been really nice to rejoin you again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And and apart from that, I'm going to be a new mom this coming summer.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
Incredibly exciting. So let's start with the word. I mean, there's so much I want to ask you about, but let's start with the word of the year. Mm-hmm. What is your word of the year, Yumi?
Yes, so for 2020, I named this year as a new chapter in life.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this word in mind from last year, actually, back in December, when I found out that I was pregnant. And so I knew, since this was my first pregnancy, first time becoming a mother, and first time raising a human being, I knew that this year, 2020, was going to be totally different from my previous year. So,
and it's been a very different year, right?
yes, totally. So that's why I named a new chapter in life.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also new in that I was going to leave my workplace for a certain while. So that's going to be new change. So, that's the phrase that I would name it this year.
That's brilliant.
Yes.
So let me go into one of our favorite topics on the Sasaga podcast, and that is confidence. So you're an interpreter, and I know I was an interpreter in the past as well. I know a lot of interpreters, and I know that confidence can be a big issue for interpreters.
Yes.
So, can you share with us an example maybe of something where you weren't confident to start with and that you developed confidence?
I can share with you so many examples of, losing my self-confidence. But to start off with, interpreter, which is a job that I love, but at the same time, you're constantly under a big pressure. Because you always need to educate yourself in terms of business-wise, and also you have to be knowledgeable, be at the goal, and then you sometimes interpret in front of 300 people, and you're under this big spotlight and get nervous with that. And in addition to that, you sometimes end up with good interpreters. And you just have help comparing with them.
Right.
And you feel so small. So you're under a constant pressure, and you have really small room to build up a self-confidence. So that was the situation. Yes.
Right. And can you share with us, do you have a specific example where we can empathize with you?
Yes. So one time, I think it was a couple months ago, I was joining online interpreting course where a lot of about 50 interpreters were doing that. And they were sharing their daily interpreting style, their interpreting experiences. And then when I joined that course, I got overwhelmed. I felt like all the other interpreters knew what they were doing. They were so experienced, and they were so knowledgeable. And it was a really overwhelming experience. And I couldn't help but comparing myself with them. It was like, what was I doing? Although I had this 7 years career, I felt really small. Mm-hmm. And then I think I share this experience in our VIP Women's Coaching Program.
Mm-hmm. You did.
On the Facebook.
Yeah.
Yes. And then you kindly advised me that what's the use of comparing yourself with others? Mm-hmm. And it was so true. And to answer that, I was just beating myself up.
Yeah.
And I didn't get any positive out of comparing with others.
Right.
Yeah. So that was a good advice from you. Mm-hmm. And I took a couple of days of thinking, what is it that what's comparison? What can I gain from comparing with others? Mm-hmm. And what is it that I can link to building up my self-confidence? Mm-hmm. And what I learned is that once you compare, you can still learn from others. Like, there's so much strength of other people. Mm-hmm. And started thinking about what are the other things that I can implement myself. Mm-hmm. I cannot mimic 100%, but what are some elements where I can implement myself?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also I started to think about what is my strength as well. Mm-hmm. Because when I look back, I had a couple people come up to me and say, Yumi-san, you're a good interpreter, mm-hmm. in that you don't always translate words by words, mm-hmm. but you always, think about the background information, what the speaker's intention is, and mm-hmm. you try to convey the nonverbal, unspoken message into a verbal message, and that's very helpful. Mm-hmm. And those were the comments that I received in the past. Mm-hmm. And so I remembered it and thought, if people are appreciating that point, that must be my strength area.
That is great.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So there was this really a paradigm shift or mind shift towards comparison and mm-hmm. Comparing with others, also thinking about my strength. Mm-hmm. And that led me to kind of gradually rebuild my self-confidence. Mm-hmm. And having that in mind, it made me be who I am and then perform in a kind of calm way.
That is brilliant. I
love
that.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I acquired just recently.
One thing, if we can talk a little bit about more, mm-hmm. a little more about interpreting, because I actually hear from quite a lot of my corporate clients and women, my online students, is especially, it's interesting because as they're being promoted, sometimes mm-hmm. they're being asked to interpret in meetings because they're participating in more global meetings, and they're working in companies where they haven't necessarily brought in they don't have the in-house interpreter there, or they're not bringing in an external interpreter. What kind of advice do you have for? I mean, I think these poor women, when they're being asked to not only participate in the meeting, but they're also being expected to interpret in the meeting. What advice do you have?
Yeah, I think it's a very difficult situation, and I hear it sometimes from those people who kind of have to be forced to interpret because they can speak English. Yeah. I would say just instead of just translating or interpreting everything, just focus on the point of what the message is. And you don't have to be 100% perfect, but focus on those main message and then convey that or deliver that to other people who needs interpreting, who needs the support. Yeah.
I love that. And what about, so even if people are not being asked to interpret, a lot of my clients, online students and people who follow Sasaga Communications online, a lot are keen to improve their English because they have to use a lot of English in their work. What are your top tips? I'm just kind of throwing this one at you. Since you're here,
yes.
What are your top tips for learning English?
Learning English. First of all, I think people need to enjoy learning English. So they can start off with, I mean, you may hear this all the time, but they can start off with by watching their favorite movies and listening to music and get kind of familiarize themselves with English in terms of listening and sometimes speaking. And don't think like English is like a burden. It's just a tool for the way to, it's just a tool in order to get something more better. So I think just familiarize yourself and just enjoy, create an environment where you can enjoy English is something, the tips that I can give as a starting point.
Brilliant. Like listening to Sasaga podcast.
Yes, definitely. Yes. And get more out of it. Just don't think, English is a burden, but just consider English as a good equipment or tool to have like more, to have more discovery.
Definitely. Like having fun is the best way to learn.
Yes.
What I always say. Wonderful. So you have this career as an interpreter. You shared with us that you're expecting a baby soon. So like dealing with how you use your time and how you use your energy, I'm sure it's a big topic for you.
Yes.
What have you learned that's been helpful for you that maybe you can share with the Sasaga podcast?
So first of all, I want to share that I've been struggling with managing my energy for when I first entered my 30s, because compared to when you were in 20s, I could just feel that your energy and your physical and mental stamina is totally different. But I thought that was just part of aging, but I wanted to do something about it. Then one time at my previous company, one of our global CEO came to visit Japan, and then he gave us a presentation. And in the Q&A session, one of our employees asked, Mr. CEO, how do you manage your time and energy? Because you're so energetic. And just to supplement, he's like in his 40s and he has this like charismatic figure. He's very energetic. He has a sharp mindset, but at the same time, he's very down to earth. So those questions were asked to him. And he answered that, you can't really control your time, but you can control your energy.
Exactly.
Yes. So that was like an eye-opener for me.
Yeah.
And he explained by saying that he really disciplined himself. He really takes care of himself in order to make in order to come up to the company really fresh and make a big, important decision. He needs to be in like his best, in his best. So therefore, he exercises regularly. He eats healthy. And he takes plenty of sleep. And when he shared with us that tips, I thought that's kind of basic. That's not like really rocket science in a way. Even I do that. So I decided to kind of start experimenting that in my everyday life. So what I did was, after a long meeting, I always get tired. So I started like looking at my daily calendar and say, okay, I have a big meeting in the afternoon. So where is it that I can like recharge? I can put like my recharge energy time. And so let's say if I had a meeting right after lunch, then I would block my lunch time as recharge energy time. And then kind of try to avoid eating big meals. I would just have like light meals so that I don't get sleepy or lose my concentration level. And then I would also like put 15 minutes of power nap time in. Yes. And also when I have like back-to-back meeting, I would also look at my calendar and see where can I secure, if I can secure like 30 minutes of time, I would block that time, and then maybe go out for like 5 minutes, go outside for a 5-minute walk, or like listen to meditation music for 5 minutes, or eat chocolate in order to boost up my energy, in order to like prepare for the big game, the big meetings.
Yeah.
And really by doing that, I was able to really have a calm moment and really be focused and be present in the meeting. And sometimes I even was able to enjoy being in that meeting because I was so present and I was really so focused and so engaged.
Yeah.
So yes, so that's one of the things I would say, understanding your energy level, like understand when your energy will go drop and secure like a recharge time beforehand would be something that might work.
Definitely. And also it's about what works for you as an individual.
Yes.
I'm thinking, as we're talking, I'm thinking about one of our former colleagues who was also an interpreter. And I remember one time we were having lunch and she was about to go off to interpret at a meeting, and I was about to go off and presenting in a workshop. And I was there, just eating my meal, and she was just having a cup of coffee. And it's what works for you, because for me, I need to eat. I need to have that energy before I'm presenting.
Agreed.
I couldn't eat because sometimes if when you're digesting the food, it makes you a little bit tired. So she wouldn't do that. So it's really important knowing for each individual, knowing what works for you.
So true.
What I also I'm thinking of things I want to ask you about. So what I'm hearing as well is that with the coronavirus situation, a lot of women are working from home, maybe have kids at home as well, and they are now working longer hours at home because it's, in a sense, it's easy to do that, and they're working straight through lunchtime, not taking breaks and things like that. What are your thoughts on that, and what do you say to those?
People need to eat.
Yeah.
For sure, and take some like your time, like have secure me time in a way. Yes, in order to function the rest of the day. Yes. I think people, all those women need to really treasure themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
First. Yeah.
And what we've been talking in the Sasuga VIP Women's Coaching Program. I've just started introducing there about the Sasuga Success Cycle.
Yes.
We're going to be really we're completely redesigning and upgrading the program for the July start around the Sasuga Success Cycle, so that we're really looking at, as women, when are the times when our energy is at the best for certain tasks and activities, and making sure that we're aligning with those times. So that we can make the most of it and make life actually so much easier. And I'm loving it. I've been doing this in my life, and it's making a huge difference already.
Just to kind of relate to that, I was going to say that understanding about your body cycle, like menstrual cycle, is really important too. In the past, I used to have really bad PMS. I used to be grouchy, and I used to be irritated, and then I used to be really tired during that period of time. But then when I started to learn about this cycle, and when I started to accepting it, I began to plan my events, like monthly events, according to that cycle. And it worked out really good. So when you're tired, when you're having PMS, you don't want to go out. So what I do is, take my time at home, rest, and not overthink, because it will not lead to anything positive. And at the same time, when you're feeling good, and you feel like you want to go out, I would plan like dinners with my friends, or go to yoga after work, and can really be energized. So understanding about your body cycle is, I think, a key to have energy management.
Right. And it's something like I only learned like relatively recently, and I was thinking for all these years not not knowing about this. Wait a second, we've got a little bit of instability in my internet there, I think, hoping that the recording stays okay. Not knowing about this for so many years, and now knowing about it, it's just making such a difference. So I absolutely love it. I'm looking forward to
it's magical. Big difference
too.
Yes, definitely.
What else would you like to share with the Sasuga podcast listeners today?
So I'm thinking about it, and I wanted to share one words of wisdom that I've been treasuring all my life. And it goes, life is about how many sparkles you can count.
I love that.
So, and I love this quote so much that I sometimes write it on my friends' birthday cards to wish them happy life.
Oh, I love it. So what are some recent sparkles in your life? What are some recent sparkles?
Well, it's about having a healthy family, healthy friends. They're all healthy under this very difficult time. So that's something that I should cherish. And actually, under this COVID-19 difficult situation, my interpretation of this phrase changed a little bit. So in the past, when I thought about sparkles, I used to it's all those joyful moments you can count, and also quality time. How much quality time you can spend with your family and friends, and how many travelings you can do and see beautiful sceneries and all that. I used to consider that as sparkles. But now that we're under this very difficult situation, I think we can also count sparkles after we face the challenges and we overcome difficulties, and also come out of the comfort zone. I think that's one of the ways you can still have sparkles after that experience. So I wanted to share this phrase with all the listeners, because we're under a very difficult situation, and we're in this VUCA world, vulnerability, uncertainty, complex, and ambiguity, was it? Yeah. But after, I'm sure we'll overcome this eventually. And when we do so, I hope that people will find a lot of sparkles in their life. So yes, with that in mind, I just wanted to share this, one of my favorite words of wisdom.
I love that. That's looking for the sparkles in your everyday life, but also looking forward to those ones where you're overcoming difficulties.
Yes.
So sweet. That's so wonderful.
Right.
Excellent. So anything else you wanted to share with our listeners today? We've got a little bit of internet choppiness.
I'm losing you.
Is there anything else you wanted to share with our listeners?
Any question? I think I was able to share pretty much, my experience so far.
That is great. Thank you so much. So,
thank you.
And maybe for those women who decide to join us in the next round of the Sasuga VIP Women's Coaching Program, maybe they can meet you in there too.
Yes. Look forward to it. Yes. The program is full of inspiring ladies, so new participants will be benefit a lot.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Yumi, for your time today. Really appreciate it, and looking forward to hearing how things go over the coming weeks and months, and when you're a new mum. It's going to be great.
Yes, will do. All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay.